Boys back locked in like I never left. Okay, now apparently millennials are creating the most underprepared generation yet. That's crazy. Look at what they saying about y'all millennials, man. Should I say us? Yo, look. Apparently we are incapable of preparing, the generation that we're meant to prepare and raise in the most efficient way possible, or in the most balanced, or most health, or whatever the case. At this point, I feel like a redefinition of all of that needs to be, reached. I don't know. We just redefine all this shit, man, and then maybe we're not doing a bad job after all. I don't know. Maybe the job is bad. Let's get into it, man.
My heavens on earth, the universe begat my roots. It ain't no ego too new to me. I call y'all flukes. Age of Aquarians drooling for the star sign June.
Okay, just hopped out of how millennials are creating the most underprepared generation yet, right? So clearly that's a clear shot at the at millennials out there. You know what I'm saying? What are they saying about like your skills of just like bringing up the next generation and shit? Saying let's clarify some things with Copilot. Saying I feel like I want to involve Copilot in this one. I'm having a problem with like my microphone's projection, y'all. 1 2 1 2. Hold on. 1 2 1 2 1 2. I think it might just be like a filter. Just adjust the filter right quick. But I will be involving our friendly AI companion, Copilot. You know what I'm saying? In a second, right now. Actually, so Copilot, right? Let's bring him up.
Hi there, Seasway.
Yeah, Copilot. I'm watching a YouTube video. I'm reacting to a YouTube video. The title is How Millennials Are Creating the Most Unprepared Generation Yet. Now I want to ask you something about that, right?
So there's a YouTube video talking about how millennials might be creating a less prepared generation.
Yes.
Basically suggesting.
Yes. So I just wanted to tap in with you to hear your opinion on just what evidence do you think supports this kind of claim, though, this kind of title.
When we look at a claim like that, it's usually coming from observations about trends in education or maybe parenting styles. For example, some folks might point to shifts in how much independence kids have compared to previous generations, or how technology is changing the way young people solve problems. It's all about noticing patterns that people believe are making a difference.
So does this kind of POV kind of just like address people's fears, about how the world, since it's new shifts and new things like that? Do you feel people are more nervous about how these shifts are gonna or are affecting this new generation that millennials are creating or raising up? Or do you think there's something else beyond just like an element of fear, like just kind of talking down about like just how millennials could go about raising a generation? Where do you think that comes from?
A lot of this perspective does come from a place of uncertainty about new changes. It's not always just fear, though. Sometimes it's curiosity or just a desire to understand how things are evolving.
So okay, then what gives people the idea that the generation that millennials are raising are to be underprepared just because people are uncertain of new developmental changes?
A lot of it does come down to people reacting to change. I think some folks look at new trends like how technology or parenting styles have evolved, and they start feeling like those changes might create gaps in how the younger generation is prepared for the future.
What kind of gaps, though? Give me real life example of these gaps.
Sure. One real life example people sometimes point to is that reliance on technology could mean less focus on certain life skills. For instance, if a lot of problem solving can be done through apps, some might feel younger folks don't get as much practice with hands-on problem solving.
But then wouldn't that just mean they just need to solve different problems than what's considered traditionally problems? Because the traditional problems, those can be solved by the advent of AI and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like platforms that can just like replace humanity, right? And then go ahead and let these kids figure out what new problems that they can solve. I feel like it's like the attachment of trying to solve old problems using a new generation. It's like those problems should have been solved, right? No? Am I stupid for asking shit like that?
Not at all. That's a really insightful angle, and it makes perfect sense. You're basically highlighting that each generation has its own unique set of challenges and opportunities. So it's not about being stuck on the old stuff, but actually letting the new generation tackle what's next in their own way.
Yeah, well, beyond that, just like present other things to them as problems. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, you know, being isolated or being an introvert, like just being antisocial. Right? How about we don't present that as a problem? It's not a problem, right? It's not a problem. Just like, you know, you get antisocial and you want to escape into things like video games and streaming all day and just doom scrolling, whatever. Yes, it does have its negative side effects and things like that. But what if the problem there is maybe, you know what I'm saying? Not, you know, not developing the kind of character that would be resilient in spaces like the streaming world where everybody will just like could, you know, throw negative comments your way, you know, things like remaining consistent even though, you know what I'm saying, fuck, I know there's things like, you know, being depressed off of, you know, being on these screens, and a whole lot of screen time produces depression. Well, how about you tell them then, okay, harness their attention to not get into things that depress them on these screen times. You know what I'm saying? Get them into just like educational. There's tons of educational shit that they can spend the whole day scrolling over. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think the problem is just like being on these devices the whole time. But it's like, yo, how can we just like create healthier energies from being on these devices the whole day? You know, do you get where I'm coming from, bro? Please tell me you understand this.
Absolutely, I get you. It's all about shifting the energy and making the time on these screens more meaningful, instead of focusing on the negatives or the fact that people
because
they might,
they might present other ways of just like how real life can just be overcome in certain ways, instead of shaming being online perpetually. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, they're presented with ways of how they can get paid off of like being on these video games all day, blah blah blah. And I feel like, you know what, through natural selection the brain might just adapt to being able to be on screens all day. But then obviously it's gonna have the negative side effects where, yeah, you take that kind of brain and you make it step outside into the sunlight, they might die and disintegrate on the spot. Right, I get that. But it's like, then what? Yeah, this, I mean, come on, bro, this is like, fuck. I think I spoke myself into a corner. But it can't be all bad, bro. It cannot be all bad. Okay, look, let me ask you this then. How can a problem like, you know, millennials creating underprepared generations in this way, how can that kind of problem be like addressed? Like in real time, like, you know what I'm saying? Give me real time solutions, like real life solutions. At least 4 examples, please.
It's definitely not all bad, I hear you. And hey, no worries, we all get tangled up in our thoughts sometimes. So if you're wondering how to tackle that issue in real time, let's keep it simple. Instead of looking at it as a huge generational problem, we can focus on immediate things like encouraging more balanced routines, mixing online and offline activities, promoting resilience and building coping skills. So basically, you're just guiding them step by step to adapt to both worlds.
And what are the consequences of this fragility?
Yeah, for sure. I get what you're saying. So let's throw out some real-time solutions. One idea is to highlight how to build a household budget. That's a cool, practical skill to develop. I'll just highlight the household budget so you can spot it easily. Another thing is simplifying your thoughts into clear writing. Getting used to putting down your ideas can build some resilience. And honestly, it's just about mixing that online time with small real-life habits that give you a bit of balance. So yeah, totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, so according to like just your understanding of things, right? How do you think overscheduling these kids, like, because one point that was raised in this video of how millennials are creating an underprepared generation is that, you know, one of the negative effects is the fact that, you know, these millennials are overscheduling the kids. You know what I'm saying? What's the first idea that hits your brain or your database, you know, with me saying this? Like, how do you think the overscheduling of these kids, you know, how do you think it affects them negatively?
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. So let's just dive straight in. When you overschedule kids, you pile on too many activities, and it can just dial up the stress. Basically, they lose that free time to just be kids, explore and figure stuff out on their own terms. So at the end of the day, it's really about dialing it back a bit and letting them have some breathing room.
Letting them be kids, right? But then you could hear maybe a boomer, a generation that, you know, generation boomer or zoomer. You know, they'll tell you that no, that's how they gained their independence, and that's how they gained their, you know, strong decision making skills, because, you know, I had to handle all the pressure by myself. They turned out all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is the generation being raised by millennials? How come we cast doubt on them while boomers apparently turned out fine with all these kind of pressures? They might have went through some worse things, no?
Well, it's definitely a mix of both worlds, right? Some older generations had to handle a lot of pressure, and yeah, they feel like they turned out fine, but that doesn't mean it's the only way. Each generation adapts to its own set of challenges, and we're just figuring out what works best for kids today. So it's less about doubting them and more about recognizing that times change.
But like across the board, bro, do you think okay, wait, let me just ask you, like, according to your opinion, what is the generation that's being raised by millennials? Let's just clarify that.
So basically, we're talking about Gen Z here. The generation coming up that's largely raised by millennials. They're the ones growing up in a super digital age, you know, with all the tech and everything at their fingertips.
Okay, let me ask you this. Like, what's the best case scenario of these kids being raised up by tech, or being raised up and just, you know, attaching to the conveniences that tech has for them, right? Instead of, you know, doing the more disciplined things that are outside of, you know, their tech devices and things like what's the best case scenario for a generation being raised on tech?
So the best case scenario really is that they become super adaptable and tech savvy. You know, they can quickly pick up new skills, use digital tools to solve problems, and they're really comfortable in a world that's constantly changing with tech. It's about blending that convenience with a bit of balance so they can also pick up real world discipline and experience along the way.
And according to your projection, how big is the percentage of, you know, Gen Z that's going to be successful at reaching that best case scenario? Do you think is it a lot of these Gen Zs that might reach that kind of reality, or is it, you know, less than the rest?
It's tough to pinpoint an exact percentage, but a fair number of Gen Z will likely find that balance. They're growing up in a tech-driven world, and a good chunk of them will adapt well, mixing those digital skills with real-world insights. It won't be everyone, but a decent slice should thrive in that best-case scenario.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, man, you know, these super generic answers from Copilot, I get it, though. You're trying to, you know what I'm saying? Okay, I don't think I get it. I don't think I get why, you know. Fuck it, bro. But like it depends on like the result of the kid that you're gonna, because at the end of the day, it's not about focusing on the whole entire generation, right? You focus on the kid that you created. You focus on, you know, the one kid that you created as a millennial. You know what I'm saying? And apply the necessary changes that you think are the best. You know what I'm saying? And even you just applying what you think is best, it doesn't mean they're gonna take it as that. They might take it as, nah, bro, like, you're oppressive, right? Yo, it's a whole generation of liberals out here. No, you're oppressing me, bro. Why do you want me to spend such little time on my devices? Come on, bro, don't you know, this, then, the third. They might just come up with, like, excuses hiding behind the fact that, actually, you know, I don't ever want to take responsibility for the real world. What the fuck? Like, you the one that brought me here. God damn it. I'll choose then what the fuck I cast my attention on. And it's nothing but, you know what I'm saying, these devices, and this, like, it's fun here, you know what I'm saying? And give me my vape while you at it, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? All day. Like, it's like they might find, I don't know, bro, like, maybe brain rot is the most comfortable thing for them. Like, god damn, maybe they don't want to be a bunch of freaking millionaires. Maybe they do want to be just like cyborg kids who are NPCs, who will eventually, you know what I'm saying, will be the biggest reason why a whole lot of human consciousness is downloaded on the software, and then all of that kind of shit is cloned, and then they, you know, maybe I'm diving in too deep into like conspiracy theories, you know what I'm saying? But hey, maybe they don't mind. Maybe they don't mind letting it rot and shit like that, man. And, you know what I'm saying? I don't know though. I think I'm just like yapping, you know, out the side of my ass right now. I'm really kind of tired. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is very interesting, bro. It's man interesting to witness. Yeah, but like for me though, another thing is just like zooming into just how, you know, being the present day generation, just zoom into how you were raised, man. Zoom into just like the things that you are running away from. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like for millennials it has been, because, you know, the world done changed. The world started to change right before our eyes. We were already born, we were already existent, you know, having pre-existed in a time where, you know, the internet was not a thing. You know what I'm saying? It had to be a thing while we were still coming up and, you know, growing and shit like that, right? So there's a whole lot of you know, there's a whole lot of boundaries that we don't want our kids to want to experience, right? Like resistances that we experienced. You feel what I'm saying? Coming up having to make the calculation off of your own brain without, you know, a calculator. And it created geniuses. A genius that could come up with just like calculations on the top of their head and this, then the third. Look, there was a whole lot of benefit to that. But you know what I'm saying? I feel like a whole lot of millennials are looking at, you know, certain shortcomings and are like, yo, I don't want to ever let my kid, you know what I'm saying, experience this kind of shortcoming. And what will you do? You will naturally overcompensate to make up for like the energy that you missed out on. You feel what I'm saying? And I feel like with every generation, this will always be the experience. You'll always want to compensate for what you didn't have. You know what I'm saying? What you believe you deserved more of. You know, things like this. And then obviously with everything, there will be a negative side effect. Yes, your kid will have everything that you didn't get, you know. But then at the end of the day, it's like they might miss that, you know what I'm saying? That opportunity for growth with, you know, having the life that you had. For example, the negative parts of you did make you stronger in certain ways. That's if you turned out alright today. You know what I'm saying? So the point I'm trying to make is that, you know, not everything that was deemed bad by your generation was bad for you. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, yo, let's take it from that point of view. And, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, hope for the best that, you know, your kids will come out all right, come out prepared. And look, here's another thing too. Like when we talk in preparation, what are they being prepared for? Or like what are they attempting to be prepared for, right? Because more often than not, bro, it's like we're trying to get so ambitious, and that's another thing. Maybe you've experienced limitations when you was coming up by the generation that raised you up. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, you found yourself with a whole bunch of desires. A whole bunch of just like energies that you wanted to put out. Like the ambitious part of you. You know what I'm saying? You didn't want that. Now you might project that same kind of vision on your kid. Maybe your kid is not even an ambitious person. You know what I'm saying? They don't have an ambitious bone in their body. You feel me? And then you might be like, you know what? I never was given the opportunity to be ambitious. Now son, I want you to be nothing but ambitious. What? It don't make no sense, man. You know what I'm saying? And so therefore, maybe the whatever you can provide for that kid, the kind of nurture that you can provide for that kid, the kind of just care that you can provide for that kid, wherever you're at, maybe that's enough for the kid too. And yes, there are influences like outside influences, people that don't live in that same environment, influencing the kid to be like, yo, and having the kid wanting to be like that. But you know what I'm saying? Establishing like, you know, even the limitations that you have as somebody that's raising this next generation. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's where you make it clear that, yo, I cannot take you there, bro, but I'm not gonna now stifle your you know what I'm saying, your vision of trying to reach that point. You know what I mean? I have to encourage it, but it's like I can't help you that far. You feel me? And so therefore, you know, whatever you could provide for that kid should have been enough. Well, it should be enough. Feel me? It all depends on just like how, you know, how the kid like interprets the whole thing. They might feel like it wasn't enough, bro. You stifled me. I don't like how you know what I'm saying, you brought me up, blah blah blah, things like that, right? There'll always be those kind of dynamics, bro. Feel me? So I said all that to be like, yo, even though, you know, we might look at these technological like the presence of these technological things that are just bombarding the kids' brains, and it's brain rot and this and that and the third. Like, yo, are we sure that that's what, you know, it's stifling the whole generation? Because another thing, man, it's like it's probably a very small percentage of kids that feel, or that, you know, it seems like they're being underprepared because of the modern time and the modern environment. You know what I'm saying? It might be a small percentage of that shit. So anyway, a word from our sponsors, man, right quick. Saying it is what it is.
Man, got his nerve, no service. Pull out for your purchase. Each tell you shit, stick their shit for. Young lady drunk on shit. Either the sun, run up a leg. Whichever you think counts, make it legit. My heavens on earth, the universe, but got my roots. It ain't no ego too new to me. I call y'all flukes. Age of Aquarians drooling for the star sign juice. It ain't no level too high up, yeah, that we can't reach with our eyes closed, like no cap. Infinite water deep dive, yeah. Rough smart to these dumb nugs, y'all flowing, jack, give me the loot. Who got the key to the zoo? Mama, she lying. Daddy too weak for the truth. Man, got his nerve, no service. Pull out for your purge. Beach, tell you shit, sit there shit for. Young lady drunk on shit. Either the sun, run up a leg. Whichever you think counts, make it legit. Already know I'm designer. My type of cloth ain't a misfit. I just mean like I'm an honor. Give it the time and the dick. I'd rather you keep it 1,000. I smack all that cap off your lip. Look at the dumb, make a script with the dollar. So after we fuck out the dick, catch your fade. If you don't mind, get the fuck out my way. We finding our way. Give me the loot. Who got the key to the zoo? Mama, she lying. Daddy too weak for the truth. Man, got his nerve, no service. Pull out for your purchase. Beach, tell you shit, stick their shit for. Young lady drunk on shit. Either the zone, run up a leg. Whichever you think counts, make it legit. Why you think it's a Zulu chillin' on my stoop? My heavens on earth, the universe, but got my roots. It ain't no ego too new to me, I call y'all flukes. Age of Aquarians drooling for the star sign juice. It ain't no level too high up, yeah, that we can't reach with our eyes closed, like no cap. Infinite water deep dive, yeah. Ralph smart to these dumb nugs, y'all flowing, jack, give me the loot. Who got the key? Pull out for your purge. My beats, tell you shit. Sit there, shit, fuck. Y'all ain't drunk on shit. Either the zone, run up a leg. Whichever you think counts, make it legit. Already know I'm designer. My type of cloth ain't a misfit. I just mean like I'm an honor. Give it the time and the dick. I'd rather you keep it 1,000. I smack all that cap off your lip. Look at the dumb, make a script with the dollar. So after we fuck out the dick, trick, catch your fade. If you don't mind, get the fuck out my